It's my pleasure to be here. First things first, I had a set of remarks that I had scripted, and I lost those remarks. And it's probably a good thing. And so it put me in a frame of mind of if this were a rap concert, I'm in the position where I'm going to have to freestyle this morning. And I hope you follow that theme, because when I looked at the roster of speakers, some of them I knew and some of them I didn't. I was a bit self-indulgent when I saw that I was going after Miriam Young. I said, oh, I get it. You know, I'm going to be Jay-Z and she's going to be Kanye. Because, you know, in a rap concert, you have the hype person, they go before the main event. And then I flipped the page over and I saw that Monica Simpson was on the roster. And so then I said, well, the Jay-Z thing doesn't work because maybe I'm Kanye to her Jay-Z. But then I was totally upstaged when the sister from Argentina came and spoke. And I say to her, bienvenidos, y in the words of Che Guevara, hasta siempre. And then I came with a heavy heart because I realized that if I were driving through South Carolina about this time last week, I could have been stopped by a police officer and shot dead. But then the sister came and gave the poem, and she lifted my spirits because she told me I mattered. So thank you for that. So let me just kind of say that coming here and looking out over this audience, the first thing with this, just the scope and where people are coming from, a saying came to me that says that societies grow great when people plant trees under which they would never sit. And when I look at you, you all look like a grove of trees to me that are gonna make our society great. And for those of you who are students here, that you get to sit under the shade of the mighty oak, Marlene Gerber Freed. I am reassured that we're on our way to a better world and to a better place when I look out, because I know that when I sit down, my future is going to be left in your hands, and I'm reassured by that. Dr. King once preached a sermon called Remaining Awake in the Midst of a Revolution, and he took the story of Rip Van Winkle and Washington Irving. Washington Irving wrote a story about Rip Van Winkle. If you all do American literature, Rip Van Winkle goes up in the mountains, he sleeps for 20 years, and when he goes up, King George V was the King of England, and America was a US colony, and when he comes down, George Washington is the first president, and the nation is totally changed. And Dr. King used that sermon to say that you have to adapt new ways of interacting with the new world that you find yourself in. Well, if he was talking about remaining awake in the middle of a revolution, I want to call you to remain awake or to wake up in the midst of a devolution. You know, the movie Back to the Future talks about time travel back and you see what the future looks like. I think we're going back to the past. We're going back to a world where women can die unnecessarily from abortion. We're going back to a world where people can be incarcerated. We're going back to a world where people can be shot down like a runaway slave. So I need you to wake up. If you're already awake, you need to remain awake in the midst of a revolution. Because what that calls you to do is to be educated. Because what education does, it makes you easy to lead but hard to drive. You can't be driven to the injustices that perpetrate our society. So we need you to wake up and educate yourself and become easy to lead but hard to drive. Because when you do that, you can do the kind of work that you need to do. You can, as Gandhi said, be the change that we need to see. My change becomes becoming an abortion provider. I'm trained as an OBGYN, but making the decision to go to Mississippi to provide abortion care for women. Once I saw an ad that was targeted at young people to try and get them to become activists. And the ad really moved me because it said, you know, people kind of say, when I grow up, when I get power, when I maneuver myself into a position of influence, I'm going to do something. But in the meantime, in my 20s, I'm gonna party like it's 1999. I'm gonna do my thing, right? And this person said that, imagine if Dr. King had spent his 20s partying, we might all still be riding on the back of the bus. So don't use your youth and your lack of traditional pathways of power and influence as an excuse not to do anything, because unless you do something, nothing will happen. So as I close, I want to say that I'm delighted to be here as a part of this conference, and what should happen to you from this conference is that you should become, if you're not already, a maladjusted nonconformist. Right? You should hear about issues that you become maladjusted. They should make you a little queasy in your stomach when you hear that women can be shackled while they have stitches in their perineum after they've just given birth. You should be uncomfortable with hearing about people being shot down in the street as a result of a traffic stop. You should feel uncomfortable with the idea that a woman can have the end of her pregnancy, whether it be by her own hand or by the spontaneous process, and end up incarcerated because her rights are appropriated to a fetus. Her human rights are taken from her and appropriated to a fetus. That should make you uncomfortable. You should remain maladjusted to that. And if you're uncomfortable with that, you should be nonconformist with that. You should act out. You should act up, because well-behaved people don't make history. Dr. King said, if this country falls apart, it won't be based on the vitriolic actions of bad people, but it'll be based on the appalling silence of good people. So we need you to move out of that category of the appalling silence. And we need you to act in that, and as I close, to remember what the Massachusetts native son, Dr. Seuss, said in the Lorax, where he says, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's gonna get better. It's not. Thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to experiencing the conference.